Issue 12. Adults are liars. Today, my mother told me never to tell a lie, but then she fibbed to her friend about why she didn't meet her on time. Yesterday, my father told me how terrible it is to drink and smoke, but at the time he had just finished his third bottle of beer and was giving me money to take to the store to get him cigarettes. They both pretend to be very honest, religious people with very high moral standards. But it seems every day they lecture me about not doing something that they do all the time. They are long on maxims but short on examples. Most of my adult relatives act the same way, saying one thing but doing another on a regular basis. A lot of adults, including people who are supposed to be role models, like teachers and business leaders, behave the same way. They seem to think that the only things that matter are to say the right words and pretend to do the right things, but the actual correct performance is not as important. And the papers and news programs on TV are full of preachers and politicians who are either committing terrible sins or cheating people just for their own amusement or advancement. It's bad enough that people do bad things, but why do they make it worse by making up lies about what they do? What does it mean? 1. They are long on maxims but short on examples. 2. Role models. 3. The only things that matter are to say the right things and pretend to do the right things. Comprehension. 1. What did the mother lie about? Why do you think she did so? Have you ever done something similar? 2. What did the father lie about? Why? 3. What do community leaders lie about? Why?
Teen Talk. One. Most parents insist that their children study hard, read good books, and be courteous and friendly to everyone, don't they? But how many of these things do they do themselves? 2. Parents say children should always keep their promises. Have your parents ever reneged on a promise? What were the circumstances? 3. Do your parents always obey the law? Traffic rules, for instance. Is that okay, do you think? 4. Sometimes adults say their jobs force them to smoke or drink too much. Is this the truth or just a lame excuse? Explain your answer. 5. What is the biggest example of your parents saying one thing but then doing another? 6. Should people tell white lies or not? 7. Is honesty always the best policy? Can you think of any exceptions? Explain your answer. 8. Are you absolutely honest about everything you say?
Opinion samples. 1. Unfortunately, part of growing up is learning that life is not really simple. It is not always clear or plain. Sometimes people do things that are not exactly right because it is easier or more convenient for them. Sometimes they will excuse their white lies as not wishing to hurt someone. Sometimes they are not even aware that they are doing something bad because they don't know all the facts or because they are emotionally involved and not thinking straight. Sometimes they do not even know what the right thing to do is. Even so, people do have a moral sense, and they want their children to be better than they themselves are. So a parent will tell his kids how to behave, hoping that it will be possible for the next generation to be an improvement over their own. But the children eventually grow up, of course, and find the same kinds of conflicts and puzzles their parents faced, and will probably repeat their parents' mistakes, even while they are telling their own offspring to do what we say and not what we do. Only a few people are always able to be truthful, and they usually pay a very high price for their candor.
Questions. 1. Give an example of a high price that may have to be paid by people who always tell the truth. 2. What kinds of social pressures exist that tend to cause people to be less than honest? 3. If everyone told the full, brutal truth all the time, would the world be a better or worse place?
2. Actually, telling the truth is a simple thing once we form the habit. It is not always pleasant to know the truth, and it is never easy to tell others bad things that are true. But the ill consequences are still minor compared to the distortions and confusions and complications that result from the untruth. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive, is an old saying that is both obvious and correct. The bad results that sometimes arise from telling the truth are of brief duration and may serve to discipline us to do better next time. But the seeds of dishonesty grow into weeds of deception that may never get cleared away, and our efforts to lie our way out of difficulty just cause the correct path to become even more obscure until we become permanently lost.
Questions. 1. Is there such thing as a good lie? Can you give any examples? 2. Explain how the bad results of being truthful are actually positive aspects instead of negative ones. Dialogue. Our family is going through a rough time right now, and we don't know what to do.
Why? What's happening?
My grandmother is very sick.
Grandparents are always sick, but they seem to get over it.
No, you don't understand. She really is sick. The doctors say she has less than 6 months to live.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's terrible.
The worst part is that we don't know how to tell her, or even if we should tell her.
If I were going to die, I'd want to know. There might be something I wanted to do, and this would be my last chance.
Granny has a lot of unresolved issues with my mom that they would both probably want to clear up. If they aren't straightened out now, I know they will haunt Mom for the rest of her life.
Then what's the problem? Your grandma should be told.
Recently, she's been so happy. That's very unusual for her. But she's making lots of plans about going to South America next year. She's wanted to visit there as long as I can remember. It seems a shame to take away her last bit of pleasure.
Can't she go sooner?
No, she can't afford to go until some bonds she bought mature. That won't be until next year.
What's the downside about letting her know the truth?
We don't want to spoil her happiness, and we're afraid that the news would just depress her, and she'd die even sooner.
It's a tough choice.
I guess we'll just put it off until she feels so sick that she'll know the truth anyway.
But don't you think she deserves to be told now, while she still has the strength and the time to prepare herself for her death?
Questions. 1. If you were terminally ill, would you rather know or not know? Why? 2. What is the worst kind of death that you can think of? What would be the best way to die? 3. If it were your responsibility to tell a loved one that death was near, How would you break the news?
Read and discuss. Lies. One. Lying is the number one reason that people lose trust. 2. The most common reason that people lie is to avoid confrontation. Getting in trouble is never fun, but lying to avoid it is always a band-aid solution. When the truth comes out, the confrontation is guaranteed to be even more unpleasant than it would have been without the lie. A lie compounds the problem. It doesn't solve it. 3. Another common reason people lie is to make themselves seem better or more interesting than they are. This sort of lying can be a sign of low self-esteem, problems at home, or depression. 4. Lies are like dominoes. One lie can knock out whole sets of relationships, destroy entire aspects of one's life, and even limit one's future in unforeseeable ways. 5. Lying is a gamble. Every time you lie, you take a chance on being caught. Once you're caught lying, the game is over, since you can never be trusted again. 6. Lies have a way of getting out of control and coming back to haunt you. 7. The worst lies are the ones you tell to yourself. 8. Chronic lying can signal a psychiatric or social disorder. If you find yourself lying for no reason or to cover up behavior that you know is harmful, consider seeking professional help. 9. Lies can damage your self-image and cause inner conflicts that drastically change the way you view and act upon the world you live in. 10. Little white lies are lies that are told about superficial things when the truth would only hurt some other person, or in which the consequences are very small. They are not told to avoid confrontation or cover up some harmful actions. Rather, they are ways of being polite. For example, telling a friend that his haircut looks good when you don't really like it is a little white lie. Nobody is hurt, and your friend feels good.
Questions. 1. According to the text, why is lying wrong? Give at least 2 reasons. 2. Can it sometimes be better to be silent rather than to tell a lie? 3. Is there a difference between telling a lie and telling a half-truth?
Pictures talk. 1. Questions. 1. What lies do adults tell their spouses? 2. What lies do adults tell their kids? 3. What lies do adults tell at work?
2. Questions. 1. List some ordinary lies you tell yourself. 2. Do you feel hurt when you tell yourself lies? Describe your feelings. 3. What was the biggest lie you ever told yourself? What happened as a result? What's your advice? 1. I was just running an errand for my mother when I spotted my dad. He was smoking a cigarette before he went home, but he promised to quit weeks ago. I don't think he saw me, but I don't know what to do or think at this point. If he can lie to his family about this, how can we ever believe what he is telling us? Should I confront him, or should I tell Mom what I saw and let her deal with it? Or should I just forget the whole thing as though it never happened? What would you do?
2. Ads and commercials make me mad. Most of them are lies wrapped in some truth. Take cigarette ads. People look cool when they are smoking in the ads. Everyone is having a good time, and everybody is young and good-looking. But in real life, smoking causes yellow fingers, a dirty smell, puffy eyes, and wrinkled skin. And the same is true for diet product ads. They aren't exactly lies, but the impression they create is misleading, and the deception is actually dangerous in this case too, because the products are closely related to people's mental and physical health. How can consumers get advertisers to be more honest about the products they tout?